we move on to two massive games in the NBA. One tonight, one tomorrow night. First, a matchup of the previous two defending NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets from 2023, the Boston Celtics from obviously this past year, and then tomorrow night, live from our hometown at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, what I believe will be an NBA Finals preview. I'll put that on the record right now. Thunder Cavs.
Yes, this is the first time in NBA history a team with a 15-game winning streak, the Oklahoma City Thunder, is taking on a team with a 10-game winning streak, the Cleveland Cavaliers. You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going against Donovan Mitchell. This game was not originally going to be on ESPN, but now it is. Mike Breen, Richard Jefferson, Doris Burke will be on the call for this game. I decided to not work this game and watch it from the comfort of my house on my couch. I'm I'm kind of regretting that now, but nonetheless, it's gonna be fun to watch, and we get to play them again next week in Oklahoma City. Which is
why I kind of disagree with the sentiment that this is such a huge game, because on the precipice, they play again the next week. I don't know. The fact they play 2 times in a week kind of takes the steam off it a little bit for me, because it's not going to be spread out as much. I could very well see a scenario where these two teams split. Cavs win in Cleveland, Oklahoma City wins in Oklahoma City, vice versa. But if Oklahoma City sweeps the Cavs and it's close, or vice versa, I'm not going to feel any different about either team.
Okay. As for this Celtics-Nuggets game, the Celtics, this has been an interesting road trip for them. They started it, I believe, Tuesday in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. Last Tuesday, and then they went to Houston. They won both of those games, but lost their last game against Oklahoma City, and now they're finishing it up against Denver. That's a tough way to finish. You got Jason Tatum going against Nikola Jokic. Denver has this weird feel to it this season.
They do. They don't feel as dominant, yet Nikola Jokic is stacking the stat sheet like he always does. I was high on them, obviously, last year. I sort of felt like they could be a new dynasty in the NBA. And then
you did say that, yep.
And then it fell apart against Minnesota. Remember, we had our big bet. Minnesota went up 2-0. You thought it was over. I said it was not over.
I'll get you that Dr. Pepper. I'm sorry. I completely
That's all right, but it's all right. I'm sure you'll win it back sometime this playoff season when I bet you on something else. But anyway, so Denver goes up 3-2 in that series. Then it comes down to Game 7, and Naz Reid basically shoots the heart out of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic because no one else contributes for the Nuggets. They have made strange bench and roster decisions this past 2 years where it's been sort of like we won the championship, who cares? Instead of trying to extend their reign. And now they're in a very tough Western Conference where, listen, the Rockets, who I did predict to be very good this year, they are the number 2 seed in the West. They're 7 games back of Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And for the record, Boston, if they lose this tonight to Denver, Josh, they're 6 games back of the Cavs.
Yeah.
If you play the law of averages out, I think the Cavs are going to finish, and I've been bold on this. I think it's very real. The Cavs have a chance to break Golden State's record.
So
that's how good I think the Cavs are. I think the number 1 seeds in the East and West are almost locked up already, barring any catastrophic collapse.
So here's my biggest concern when it comes to the Cavs. It's still that small forward position. Whether it's Isaac Okoro starting or Max Strus, or we've started Dean Wade there, we're going to be, if we want to get to the finals and ultimately win it, we're going to have to go through Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, what the Knicks can throw at us, Giannis, Chris Middleton, Um, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in the West, Houston and their weapons. You get Denver. I know Denver's in a bit of a funk, but I don't think you can just outright dismiss them. You get my point. These
Yeah,
guys,
but here's my thing about this Cavs team. And a lot of people said it earlier, and I didn't want to believe it. And the more I look at it, though, the more it's true. This team is turning into the 2014 2015 Warriors. Like the team that nobody suspected with a new head coach, they thought was going to be good. Nobody suspected this, and they just came out and blitzed everybody. And you mentioned, yes, we're going to have to go for Milwaukee, and yes, we're going to have to go for the Knicks. And I get it, our small forward position's not great. But you know what we do that more NBA teams are trying to do, and they can't do it because they don't have the personnel, is do what Boston did a year ago, which was we don't have the most talented team in the world, but we have the most depth in the league, and all we do is shoot threes. And that Cavs Celtics series, if you're an old school basketball fan, it's going to be aesthetically displeasing for you because it's going to be a 3-point shooting contest. I mean, that's what the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be. It's going to come down to can we make more threes than Boston? That is going to determine who makes the NBA Finals.
yeah. Um, by the way, we do have a question here. Okay, guys, tomorrow is a big game for the Cavs. What makes it so important for each team to win? It's history. I mean, I was telling you this earlier. Um, these two teams, the Cavs and the Thunder, are a combined 62-9.
Yeah.
Think about that. And like I said, this is the first time in NBA history a team riding a 15-game winning streak is facing a team riding a 10-game winning streak.
To
Like,
answer the question on screen, what makes it so important? It's not really important for each team to win because I think they're both going to be watched as the number one seed. How is each team going to win? It's what the NBA is now. The NBA is a 3-point shooting contest. And I think it's bad for the league. I think the league needs to make some changes. I know we'll talk about this as we get more in depth in the NBA as football season sort of winds down. But as it stands right now, Josh, I think I told you this like the second week in November. The Cavs and Oklahoma City, too. Though Oklahoma City is more younger, they're a little more athletic, they don't do it as much. We are copying the Celtics from last year. We have 9 guys that can shoot a three. We're shooting 50 a game. And if we make 20 of them, we're almost unbeatable.
yeah, it's just that small forward position that scares me. It really does.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. With Evan Mobley now becoming more of a 3-point threat and becoming a dominant player that we always knew he could be, though JB Bickerstaff committed a crime basically and couldn't unlock it from him. Is Evan Mobley being that great player that we thought he could be, along with Darius Garland playing at his level? To me, that makes up for maybe not as much production at the small forward spot.
It just worries me that, like, Boston can throw Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown at you. New York has weapons they can throw at you at that wing position.
Yeah, but New
It,
York is not a great shooting team. New York is going to out physical you, and I know the playoffs are all about physicality, but Boston was not that physical. Boston just outshot people. Like, that's how they
so
won the title.
the good thing is, if the standings hold and Boston and New York both advance, they would play each other. So they would take out one of them would be taken out.
The 4 seed right now is the Magic, which is interesting because last year the Cavs were not physically tough at all.
No.
And Orlando's been doing this, by the way. Jalen Suggs been hurt. We know Banchero's been hurt. They've had a bunch of injuries they've had to overcome.
Yeah, the Wagner boys. But again, we would play the winner of that like play-in tournament, which Atlanta's in the mix there right now. I don't like.
Atlanta's the only team that gives us trouble, and why do they? Because they shoot the hell out of the ball.
Yeah. So I don't like that we had to play Atlanta on the second night of a back-to-back this month, but whatever. But in terms of this Boston-Denver game, going back to that, it's going to be interesting because Jokic is a game-time decision. I was just looking at this
Okay.
because of an illness. Boston is 8.5-point favorite going into this game tonight.
which tells me that they think Jokic is probably not going to play.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon is out for the Nuggets. The only injuries Boston is dealing with is Derek White is out and Jordan Walsh.
By
So
the way, is it just me, or has the NBA had more injuries this year than ever before? Like, everybody's hurt.
I agree with you. I don't get it. And it's just adding more fuel to the fire that the NBA needs to shorten its season.
And by the way, for all the criticism of load management, most of these injuries are not load management. They are legitimate injuries.
Yeah. Like, look at, again, the Orlando Magic, Paolo Banchero. He's been out for a while with a major injury. The Wagner boys have both been out. Chet Holmgren is dealing with another major injury.
That's sort of been the one thing for the Cavs is, a core. Oh, who cares about a core? I really don't care about a core.
Exactly. That's my point.
Outside of Strus, they haven't had a major injury.
Which, like, Strus, he adds an element, but it's not like we really missed a beat with him.
Well, again, he'll give you that extra, 6 or 9 points, however you want to say, from the 3-point line, extra 2 or 3 shots a game.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I don't know. If Jokic doesn't play, I'll take Boston. If Jokic plays, I don't know if Boston has an answer for him.
I would still pick Boston. I want to watch this game, but if Jokic doesn't play, a lot of that interest that I have is taken out of it. There is no way my interest is being zapped from tomorrow night's game. Even though Chet Holmgren's not playing, you got SGA, you got both Jalen Williams, you got Aaron Wiggins, you got Isaiah Hartenstein, you got Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. What more could you need?
I kind of like it too. The league is still sleeping on the Cavs. Like, when I see these finals odds, when I see people talking, they're still talking about the Lakers and, maybe even Phoenix or Denver or Dallas, or in the East, it's Boston or New York. Excuse me. We are having a record-breaking season. And may I add, once again, I'm putting it on the table. There is a chance the Cleveland Cavaliers will finish this year 74-8 and break the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors regular season record, and no one's talking about it.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, I made a video about this earlier, but I'll say it again. If you're an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, get in contact with me. Let's do a video collaboration to preview tomorrow night's game or preview the rematch next week in Oklahoma City.